powerful unions, and we in the African National Congress, we love powerful unions. May SADTU grow in strength from year to year, and may you also reach that level of being able to organize up to 80% of the teaching people in our country. So I wish you the best of luck. I wish to thank SADTU here in KZN for inviting me to address this dinner. Comrades, SADTU continues to occupy a very special place in the history of our country in terms of the struggle for a better life for all South Africans. It is this union that fought and won the battle for the recognition of teachers' unions in our country. You spearheaded the fight for collective bargaining in the public sector, and you won that battle. You were at the forefront of making sure that there is gender equality in the education sector, and that there should be no differentiation of pay between men and women, and you won that battle. You guaranteed the conditions of service for women and to improve their situation with regard to maternity benefits, and that they should be paid for maternity benefits. That was your struggle, and that was your victory. On behalf of the poor and working class, SADTU continues to oppose the privatization of education, ensuring that the right to education is enjoyed by many and not only by a privileged few. It is not only organizing and championing the needs of educators in early childhood development, but you remain invested in the welfare of teachers who are committed to work in remote, poor, rural communities. I want to applaud you for that, because indeed we still have a lot of schools in the rural part of our country, and it is admirable to find that there is a union called SADTU, which continues to champion for the rights of people who are teaching in very poor rural communities. And we say thank you for being that type of voice and for being that type of champion for those who continue to toil and to teach our children in rural communities where facilities are often not the best. So we salute you and we thank you for the type of work that you're doing. To succeed in developing our nation, comrades, we cannot leave the education of our children to chance. We need to be directly involved, and it is good to have a strong and powerful union like SADTU, a powerful union that has a leadership that has a vision, a leadership that has clarity on what needs to be done in education. It is when we have such a union that we will be able to make good progress with regard to transforming our education, and I would even say revolutionizing our education. Revolutionizing it, and I thought that Comrade Ngwenya would add that, revolutionizing it in a way where we decolonize our education system and make it truly African and truly South African. members of SADTU know that education is the most effective and powerful tool we possess to effect true reconstruction and development in our country. It is SADTU that has led the work to open the doors of learning, and it is SADTU, working with our glorious movement, the African National Congress, that has made sure that we embrace what is provided for in the Freedom Charter, that the aim of education shall be to teach the youth to love their people and their culture, to honor human brotherhood, and I would add sisterhood, because they didn't use those words then, and to love liberty and to love peace. We know that of all professions, there is none better placed than teaching to eradicate racial bigotry, ethnic chauvinism, and sexism. At your launch, as SADTU, you were entrusted with a historic mandate to develop a new generation of patriotic South Africans who cherish the dreams and champions the interests of the poor. When you were launched, that is what you were charged with as SADTU. You were essentially charged with the task of ensuring that you make South Africans patriotic, to make the young people that you are molding, that you are fashioning, that you are teaching to become patriots of our country. We knew that SADTU would indeed become the revolutionary instrument to transform our nation in honor of the great teachers that we have had in our country. Teachers such as Dr. John Langalibalele Dube, Professor Z.K. Matthews, Oliver Tambo, and Eskiam Patlele, to name just but a few. We are aware that SADTU and its members know that the teaching profession is based on the concept of teachers as experts who have been assigned specialized tasks by society. You need to understand that the society, South Africans as a whole, have assigned to you very specialized tasks. And this you've been assigned to because you have been prepared for the tasks that you are executing. You've been prepared by this country. You've been molded by this country to occupy the position that you occupy. We also know that SADTU and its members are cognizant of the fact that this society that has prepared our teachers for their role and assigned them to perform their tasks demands that they demonstrate high ethical standards in all situations, even though the tasks may frequently be difficult. But society expects that as the people who are molding patriots of our country, you yourself must be people of high ethical standards. It is essential for society that we should be able to rely on persons of this kind to exercise a high level of ethical standards, but more importantly, high professional skills. Society expects that you are going to be highly professional in the way that you execute this national task that you have been given. Because the task you have been given is that of being nation builders. If anybody, if any group of people has the task of building a nation, you are the people who are meant to build our nation. You can forget what we as politicians say from time to time, where we stand on podiums and say our task is that of nation building. No. If anybody has the task of building a nation, it is you as teachers. You occupy that key role because the whole nation entrusts into your hands, into your care, into your intellect, into your capability, into your ability as a whole. The whole nation takes its children from a very young age and gives them to you for a good 12 years. And we say, we are handing our children to you, mold them, build them, fashion them into the true South Africans that this country wants them to be. Your task is therefore to ensure that the children that you are given are molded into the great South Africans that this country expects from them. I honor you for the task that you have taken on as teachers of our country. In order for our country to be great, we put it in your hands. In order to make South Africans patriotic, we put it in your hands. We put the whole nation-building project in your hands. If we want to engender social cohesion, it is you that we need to look forward to. And as a nation, we must do much, much more to fully appreciate the work that you do, and we must do much more to support you in the work that you do. And maybe sometimes we fail you by not truly appreciating the role that you do. And I want to call on all South Africans today and say, let us look at the people who are building our nation. Let us look at the people who are molding South Africa, our teachers, with different eyes from today, and applaud them and appreciate them for the incredible work that they continue to do. You are great, and we need to applaud you a lot more than we do. At the dawn of democracy, we inherited a racially segregated education system. And it is this system that you, as our teachers, were launched into. You were launched into a broken system, a system that you were expected to rebuild, to refashion, and to reconstruct. The school infrastructure backlog was massive. I remember talking to one official in education in Limpopo, and he said, just looking at Limpopo with all its many schools, to reposition those schools in Limpopo would require well over 200 billion rand, and it will take us years and years. And many of you work in situations that are totally unacceptable. Most black schools to this day do not have laboratories or libraries. Our children, when you were launched into this difficult situation, were expected to do well without access to water, to sanitation or electricity, and yet you have been teaching those children, and as the General Secretary, Comrade Ngwenya, said, you have been producing near miracle results, even with the worst conditions, much worse than what you find in private schools and in urban schools. And for that, we applaud you. At the height of apartheid, per capita funding of white children was between 10 and 13 times that of African learners. And I always say that the apartheid regime ensured that for every R1 that they spend on a black child, they would go and spend 13 rand on a white child. And immediately you see the disparities that were built into the system. Working together, though, since 1994, we have worked to redress past inequities in education. We know that if we do not work together to transform the performance of our education system as well as its management, the deeply entrenched and social as well as racial inequities of our horrible past would be perpetuated. Impelled by our common vision to expand the life chances of all South Africans, we have been working very hard to transform the education system. And in this, SADTU has been a partner in this whole process. There are some who look at SADTU and say, SADTU is too powerful, SADTU is a burden, and SADTU is not contributing to the transformation of the education system. Well, you ask me, and I know that SADTU has been a partner in the transformation of our education system. This I know for a fact. Together, working with you, we abolished race as the basis for attending school, and this is where you were resolute as a formation. This is where you stood firm, and this is where your revolutionary thoughts and intent were very clear, that you as a formation were not prepared to accept racialized schools in a democratic South Africa. And had you not stood firm, we could still have been having racially based schools. And we say thank you for SADTU for standing very firm on principle. Working with you, we have improved educational outcomes as well as school attendance. Working with you, we introduced a pro-poor funding model of our education system, and together we are expanding early childhood development, prioritizing teacher development, and improving the quality of learning and of teaching. And this is where, colleagues, I have seen some of your national officials in action, where they have demonstrated great intellect, great wisdom, and great vision in coming up with outstanding ideas on how we can improve our education system, and even taking it down to how we should position our early childhood development system. So SADTU has been a great boon rather than a burden to our education system. And for all this, we continue to look to SADTU for leadership. We look forward to your members to drive the implementation of the NDP vision, our Vision 2030, to diversify our economy, and to grow it through improved education and skills development. We expect SADTU members to join in this process of making sure that we truly do develop the skill base of our country. We have great ambitions to make sure that South Africans become highly skilled, and we rely on you as the dispensers of education, armed with a great vision of where South Africa should be by 2030, that South Africa should have highly skilled young people, highly skilled people who will be able to be active participants in all the sectors of our economy. But we also expect you to do much more. We expect you to join the fight against everything that is wrong that is happening in our country. We expect you to join the fight against corruption and to root out violence and racism, as well as sexism in our schools. We applaud SADTU for taking a stand against the sexual exploitation of learners in our schools. That we applaud you for. We know that as a union, you've taken a very strong position on this, and we support you in this because we know that it is through your leadership in the schools, in the classroom, that we will bring the sexual exploitation of learners in our school. We look to SADTU and its membership to lead campaigns to make schools to become safe havens for our young people. Safe havens from crime, from drugs, and indeed from alcohol abuse. We look forward to you becoming the agents of changing our schools to become true safe havens where our children will learn in peace and not be bothered by drug dealers and not be bothered by those who are peddling alcohol to young people. This is one of the tasks that we know you have taken on, and we thank you for it. Above all, SADTU must remain a home where teachers can engage freely about how they can improve their working conditions as workers. And we know that your working conditions still need to be improved a great deal. We do need to create a very conducive environment for you as teachers to be able to dispense the education that you are meant to dispense. Our faith remains unshakable in SADTU to play a decisive role also in making sure that this revolution, the revolution that has brought this level of transformation, is safeguarded. We expect that SADTU, as part of this revolutionary alliance, is going to make sure that we return the African National Congress to its founding values of service and selflessness. This, colleagues, we expect from you because we expect you to be nation builders, and we expect you to do everything you do on a highly ethical basis. And therefore, we expect that you are going to safeguard the value system of this vehicle, which is called the African National Congress, and make sure that it too upholds the highest ethical values that you as members of SADTU, are expected to uphold. Now, as we celebrate the achievements of the democratic developmental state, it is an opportunity to celebrate the vital role that COSATU, as well as the affiliates of COSATU like SADTU, have consistently played in expanding the frontiers of freedom and human fulfillment. The KwaZulu-Natal SADTU Conference must be a reminder that we dare not rest until the democratic changes contained in the Freedom Charter are won. We dare not rest until we have liberated all South Africans from political, social, as well as economic bondage. We must build the alliance as an effective instrument of workers' struggles. We must continue to build COSATU as the spear and the ANC as the shield, and SADTU as the foot soldiers that are going to make sure that our revolution does succeed indeed. We must build an alliance that has the strength, an alliance that has the resilience and the commitment to advance the revolution for our alliance, that our alliance exists for. Even now, as our country and our movement encounters and is going through many challenges and difficulties, we must remain determined that we will not compromise the revolution. We all know, and some may want to deny it, that we are indeed going through very, very challenging times. And some may want to hide their heads in the sand, but many of us know that we are going through challenging times. But even as we are going through challenging times, it does not mean that we must cower and run for cover. It does not mean that we must now say we give up. We cannot give up this struggle of rebuilding the African National Congress. Because to give up this struggle means that we are giving up on our revolution. It means that we are surrendering our revolution to our opponents. And comrades, we cannot surrender our revolution to the Democratic Alliance. We cannot surrender our revolution to the small parties that we have. The African National Congress must be strengthened. The alliance must be strengthened, because it is through this alliance that we have been able to transform this country, and we must continue to transform this country without fail. And at the same time, we must be truthful, we must be straightforward, and we must be honest. One of the things that we must not do and we cannot do is to surrender our revolution to greed and to corruption and to patronage. That we cannot do. And at the same time, we must not hand over the institutions of our democratic state to those who want to seize them for their own enrichment. That we must never do. These are democratic institutions for which the workers of our country fought and for which many lost their lives, and these are institutions that we are bound to defend, because these are the institutions that are meant to deliver transformation for our people. And we will not surrender the revolution to those who want to subvert democratic practice who manipulate the procurement processes that we have, and those who influence appointments that they may appropriate the resources that rightly belong to the people of this country. That we must not do. And comrades, in our own movement, we must not succumb to factionalism and division. And you, as members of SADTU, you are a united union, and we applaud you for that. You must guard the unity that you have as a union very, very jealously. Guard it jealously and guard it with a great deal of care. And make sure that the wedge drivers who Oliver Tambo spoke about are never allowed to get into your union and divide it. You must never give an inch to those who may want to divide your leadership at a national level, because it is possible that your enemies may want to divide your leadership. Soon, uthola ukuthi upresident no secretary abasaxoxi kahle abasakhulumisana, omunye sowubhekele omunye sowubhekele seba nama interest ahlukile. We must not allow that to happen to SADTU. SADTU is far too precious to our alliance. You are the only union that has organized up to 70%, repeat and underline, 70% of the working people in your sector. That's phenomenal. That's really great. We must ceaselessly strive for unity within our movement. Our task now is to see how best we can renew the African National Congress. We can unite the African National Congress. We can unite the alliance, strengthen COSATU, strengthen the South African Communist Party, and make sure that the ANC is strong, ready for the elections in 2019, so that we win those elections decisively. And we can only do so if we are united and if we are strong. We will do so because we all understand that only a united ANC, a united COSATU, a strong and united South African Communist Party, and a strong and united SANCO can effectively lead the fundamental transformation that our people so demand and so desire. And we must not allow the practice of people who go around our structures seeking to divide, people who continue to make empty promises, and people who just continue to make reckless statements about our organizations. There are those who still stubbornly continue to oppose transformation through various means that they continue to employ, and we must stop those in their tracks, because transformation has to be the order of the day in our country, because we need to transform our country, the various processes in our country, so that our people can reap the benefits of the democracy that they won in 1994. And we will not surrender the revolution to those who argue also that concepts such as employment equity undermine the principle of merit, and those who argue that black economic empowerment hinders growth, or that progressive labor legislation constrains productivity. We will continue to argue and to demonstrate that there is no more effective way to achieve sustained, inclusive growth than through the economic empowerment of South Africa's black majority. And on this one, let me talk for a while about this concept of radical economic transformation that we're talking about. Radical economic transformation, comrades, is an absolutely necessary process that we've got to embark on. And this radical economic transformation means and includes changing the structure of our economy, changing the ownership patterns in our economy, changing the management patterns of how our economy is managed and controlled. But it also includes making sure that our communities, the ordinary people in our country, do benefit out of this process of radical economic transformation. It means that the working people in our economy should also benefit from the process of economic transformation. Ordinary people in our communities must also benefit. It does not mean that radical economic transformation is there just to benefit a few people, few selected people, and selected families. That's not what it means. It means overarching, broad-based economic benefits to our people. And how will we achieve this? We will achieve it through government taking direct action to direct the benefits that should flow from the economy to our people. And this it should be able to do through ensuring that our social infrastructure is broad-based and it benefits our people and it is speeded up so that the type of protests that we are getting in places like in Gauteng, in Ennerdale and other places do not happen, so that our people feel that they are included. And that is why we're talking about inclusive growth, which will flow as we radically transform our economy. This is the purpose of this policy thrust that we are looking at. It does not mean just a few people should be benefiting. And in fact, the working people who carry the burden of creating the wealth in our country are the ones who must be the primary beneficiaries of radical economic transformation. Our communities are the ones who must be the key beneficiaries of radical economic transformation. That is the purpose of this whole policy thrust. And I just want it to be clear that our approach is not to make sure that a few people, a few families are the ones who finally stand at the end of the line and take all the benefits. That we will not allow, because it is our people who we are targeting and we are focusing on. We will also continue to argue and to demonstrate that through this radical transformation process, we will realize the full potential of our people and enjoy the full benefit of our country, so that our people enjoy the full benefit of our country's bountiful resources. We will not surrender the revolution to those who continue to violate the rights of workers, who continue to pay poverty wages to workers, and who continue to endanger the lives of workers and the well-being of all the employees in various industries. We will not surrender the revolution, comrades, to those who continue to discriminate against women, because there is still widespread discrimination against women in our country, and those who continue to oppress them and to exploit them. We want the oppression and the exploitation of women in our country to come to an end, and we will work to make sure that it does happen. We will continue to fight against patriarchy in all its forms and in all its manifestations. Together, we will continue the struggle to ensure, comrades, that women are equally represented in the workplace, in the management structures in the workplace, that there is equal pay for equal work, and that there are equal opportunities, as well as training opportunities for all, and especially women. We will work to eradicate all forms of harassment and violence against women in the workplace and in our homes and in our communities. We will not abandon the struggles of workers. Today, we are also called upon to renew our commitment to selfless service to our people. We are called upon, comrades, to stand together in courage and in determination. And we are called upon as leaders, and many of us here are leaders, to lead with virtue and to lead with wisdom and to lead with integrity and to lead with dignity. But we are also called upon to lead with humility, and we are called upon to lead without being arrogant. We are called upon to lead as leaders who listen, who take advice, who listen to our people, who are connected to our people on an ongoing basis. And we are also called upon to protect the resources of our country, to protect our economy, to safeguard our sovereignty, and also to safeguard our people. It is only when you, as teachers and as professionals, are vigilant that we can advance the interests of our people, because it is you who inculcate a particular value system in the young people who are the future of this country. It is you who prepares our young people to become key players, not only as citizens, but key players of people who will manage the resources of our country. It is only when you are able to do this through your unity and through your organized formation that we will be able to transform everything that we do in our country and to build a true national democratic society that we so aspire to build. We have to speak with one voice to silence the clamor of volatility, strife, and discord that we're facing now. We have to work, yes, to strengthen SADTU, to build our federation COSATU, to organize workers who are not yet unionized. And it is a matter of concern, comrades. And you have achieved a great deal in this regard. It is a matter of concern that we still have less than 30% of workers organized in trade unions in our country. You have achieved what many unions dream about and hope for. We want COSATU to continue with organizing workers and win as many workers as possible within the ranks of our federation. We've got 14 million working people in our country, and we could say it is not acceptable that only less than 30% of them belong to trade unions. We still have a lot of work to be done. And in your case, maybe you need to go to 80%. And why not 90%? And maybe one day 100%. We have promised our people a lot of things. We have given a lot of promises to our people, and our people are looking forward to us delivering on what we have promised them. Together, we canvass their votes, and we canvass their votes to work with us so that we can transform this country. We have a responsibility to make sure that what we promised our people, the dreams that we laid out to them, are truly realized. It is we who together promise them a better life. So together, we must lead the people in achieving these goals. We are pleased that as far as you are concerned in your sector, you are marching ahead to deliver on the promise that we gave to our people, transforming our education sector, and year by year, you are evaluated, you are measured, particularly when it comes to that moment after 12 years of education, what the results of your efforts are. But at the same time, we need to see real delivery at the lower levels, from early childhood development rising up to the 12th year. And in this regard, we urge you to continue with the great work that you are doing, because all of us are implicated. All of us are required to deliver on the dream that we gave our people. In the end, it takes heart, it takes commitment, but it also takes passion. And we are grateful that many of you are in this profession because you are driven by passion, you are driven by commitment, and you are driven by what your heart tells you. And what your heart tells you is that you want to make the African child, the South African children, better educated, better skills. Your job is that of changing South Africa for the better. You are change agents, and we urge you to continue on that path of being true change agents and making sure that we build the South Africa of our dreams. And this, yes, we know is a difficult task, but we know that you've got your job cut out. You are able and you are well armed to be able to deliver on this dream. But for all the challenges that you face, I am optimistic. I'm very optimistic about our future, because our future, the future of this country, is in your hands. Many people may not realize it. The future of South Africa is in your delicate hands. It is in your hands that the citizens of this country have put the future of their children and the future of our country. We applaud you. We applaud you for being good stewards, for being good guardians, for being good leaders, and for being good role players, because many of you are real role players to the children of our country, and we encourage you to continue with that role. And I'd like to inspire you to continue doing the good work that you are doing. Those who think that you as teachers are not playing your full role, and I want to say to them, please let us support our teachers. Let us encourage our teachers. Let us help them to build this country as they are building it from the ashes of apartheid. I applaud you and I thank you for all the good work that you are doing. Comrades, continue doing your work, and I say, long live to SADTU, long live. Long live to SADTU, SADTU, long live. Ngiyabonga. Continue with your great work. Amandla.
Ramaphosa lona, Ramaphosa lo, awamasiyo, awazange bambo. Ramaphosa lona, Ramaphosa lo, awamasiyo, awazange bambo. Awazange bambo, awazange bambo. Abazange bambo, abazange bambo. Amandla, viva SADTU, viva, viva COSATU, viva, viva SANCO, viva, viva the South African Communist Party, viva, viva the African National Congress, viva. Uzonqoba uMongameli Ramaphosa uzonqoba. Gubi, 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 bo. Siyaya, siyaya. Gubi, 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 bo. Siyaya, siyaya. Noma besitubula, besibulana. Madam, thanks, comrades. Time is not on our side. Thank you, Mongameli. Thank you so much. I was just checking with ETV and SABC that are we live, because immediately after the president has spoken, and it is this gentleman that stood before, so that I can phone home and tell them to open their TV. Siyabonga kakhulu Mongameli. Indeed, what you said to us was very profound.